Hello friends, my name is Linda Dolke. I'm a demonstrator with Stampin'Up in Australia, and today we're going to be making this simple little one layer card. One layer cards can be a bit tricky to carry off only because you need to kind of do something a little bit special with them because you're not relying on lots of layers or extra pieces that you're adding in. It literally is all just on one piece. So this is just my base cardstock, as you can see. I'm actually using Pool Party for this one. I use Pool Party a lot. It's a great light color, light enough to write on if you don't feel like adding an insert, and it's also goes with lots and lots of other colors. So Pool Party is a color I always have in my collection. So I've just folded my card base in half, and I'll move this out of the way. I'm going to be using a stamp set today that's pretty new. It only came out this month. It's called Butterfly Brilliance. Now this is an early release from our upcoming annual catalogue. You will be able to get it in that catalogue. However, right now it is being offered as a bundle, including some great papers and so forth. And I did a little video last week. I'll put the link to that in the comments below, oh sorry, the description below. But the current product suite that's being offered right now is just limited time. It includes 2 special release papers that look beautiful with this. They coordinate lovely with it. So I've actually got the stamp already on the block. Here it is right here. It is a beautiful stamp. It's what we call a background stamp because effectively it covers a whole card. You can see it's a little bit bigger than my card front. But I'm going to be doing this landscape today, so I'm going to ink it up. And because I'm going to be embossing on this, I'm using Versamark. Now, if you haven't used it before, Versamark is a clear, sticky ink that your embossing powder will stick to. But it's not just good for embossing. You can also use it in its own right with other techniques, but also it just stamps a beautiful watermark look onto almost any colour cardstock, which is lovely. All right, so what I'm going to be doing, I would like this to cover this portion of my card, but I'm not going to put it down that way. And the reason I'm going to do that is because when it's a stamp this big, you do better to actually put your card on top and then run your fingers over the top. Because it's clear, it's not going to come off on my fingers. It does feel a little bit weird because, like I said, it's a little bit sticky, but that doesn't last for very long. All right. I've got good contact there. I'm going to take that off, and I don't know if you can see that, but that's really, really pretty. It's covered that portion. I wanted it on this side so I can also have room here for a sentiment. All right, so that'll stay sticky for a little while, but what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our embossing powder. And for this one, I am using clear. However, you could also use white and you would get a little bit more of a dramatic effect with the butterflies themselves. But for my card today, I'm using clear, which will give me a little bit of a different look. All right, I always use, when I'm embossing, my tub of embossing powder and a small container. And the reason why is because I can just pour my powder over the top and then tap off the excess straight into the container, which I then empty back into the tub. So it's a really great way of using it. Less mess, less waste. It's very handy. So just get yourself a little container. It doesn't really matter what kind of container, just something plastic probably. That'd be best. So I'm just going to tap over the back to make sure I've gotten rid of all my extra bits of powder, and I'm just making sure that powder has covered all my sticky ink, and it does look like it has. So I'm just going to tap this back in. Embossing powder is one of those things, it comes in a small tub, but it lasts you for ages. And that's because you use such a small amount of it each time. So what I'll do now is I'll bring in my heat tool. Now, with heat tools, this one is a great one. It's got this protective piece on the end, the plastic on the end. This one is by Stampin'Up, but any heat tool will do the same job. You can, I've had people say, can I use a paint stripper? Paint stripper is probably a little bit too hot. It's even hotter than one of these. This one also has the advantage of having 2 speeds, a gentle speed and then a stronger speed. So that's a handy thing. But do look for one that has this plastic protective piece on the end. Alright, so I'm going to heat this up and I'm going to play you a little bit of music while I do it because it's going to take me a moment. I'll speed up the camera and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's all cooked, and you know when it's done because you can see it's a lot stronger in colour now. It's much easier to see. The powder has actually basically cooked, so it's hard and shiny. You can run your fingers over it almost immediately, and the whole point of this is that now we have this lovely surface. I mean, it would look lovely just like this, but we're going to take our embossing up to the next level. So this is an Emboss Resist technique, which means that if I sponge colour over the top of this, the ink is not going to penetrate through the embossing pieces, and also the embossed pieces resist the ink in so that you don't get any ink in those spots. So I'm actually going to keep this all in a similar colour theme. I'm staying with my blues and greens, and right now I'm going to bring in Bermuda Bay, which is like a darker, much darker tone of our light pool party colour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these guys. These are fantastic. These are our new blending brushes. They come in a pack of 3. Just grabbing them for you. This is how they come in a pack like this, and you can see they are absolutely beautiful. They're not sponges, they're actually brushes. So I don't know if you can see when I run my finger through this, but it is absolutely gorgeous. It has all these beautiful hundreds or thousands of bristles, and it's really, really easy to use. So to grab your colour on it, all you're going to do is pick up the colour from the surface of the ink pad. I brush it quite firmly. I'm going to start down here in the corner, and I'm actually going to sponge my colour straight over the top of my butterflies. I'm kind of going to go as far as the butterflies. I'm not going to go quite as far as the, I'm not going to go all the way across the card. I'm just going to be putting the colour on the butterflies and just a little bit further out, because I kind of want the colour to fade off into the left hand side here. So it's strongest here where I'm coming in from the bottom, and then it's kind of fading as we get further out. I'm sorry if I'm wobbling the camera a little bit. One day I'll have a sturdier table, but for now this is what I've got, and you get the idea. Alright, so the strongest part of the colour is down here in the corner where I started each time, but it's now really gone over the top, and you can see the butterflies look less distinct. So what I've got is I've got a dry tissue, or you could use just a clean dry cloth, and we're going to come back in here and we're going to go over the top of the butterflies. We're going to polish them up, and when you do that you should see them emerge out a little bit from the background. Kind of getting the idea, they're coming out. Like I said, you can also do this with white embossing, and I might do another one with white just to show everyone the difference and how that appears. It's quite a different look. All right, I've taken most of the ink off the top there. All right, can you kind of see them starting to emerge there? All right. Okay, so then what I did was I actually used, this is something that that I like to play around with. I've used my Wink of Stella. Now you could also use a blending brush for this, but you'll get a better result with the Wink of Stella. The Wink of Stella has a solution in it that is glittery, so they're going to end up being quite shiny. I'll start over here with this one, but when we do this, you should see the colours start to emerge, and it just gets a little bit darker. And of course it's glittery. We love a little bit of glitter on our butterflies. So hopefully you can see this coming out. Once again, I'm just going to speed up this bit for you to make the video not quite so long to watch. Okay, so once once again, we've done something else to make our butterfly stand out a little bit more. However, now there is one last thing I want to do. This time I am going to use one of our blender pens. The blender pens are available. They come in a pack of 3. I'll pop the price and details for the Australian dollars up on the screen for you. These are fantastic. I use them for colouring. I use them to do all kinds of things. But one of the things I like to do is I like to add colour to something like this because it's going to define them more. So I'm actually going, I could squeeze it and get it onto the lid. But another option is to use a block, just a small block, and pick that up in the lid there and then pick up the colour. Let me just make sure I've got the right end. Pick up the colour straight from here. Okay, so I'm taking it off my block. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to use it to add definition. You're probably thinking, wow, that's dark. It's actually going to do the same. It's actually going to sit on top of the butterflies, but it's not going to go where the outline is. So if I was to give that a brush over now, you can see that the colour, when I polish that up, you can see that the colour just appears in the bits where the embossing is not. It's really quite effective. It's a nice technique, and it's not hard to do, but you do need to, of course, use it in conjunction with embossing. I will speed this up for you, and let's see how we go. Okay, so now that we've done that, you could leave it just like that. If you are happy with it just as it is, then go ahead and add a sentiment and finish it off. But I am going to go and do one more step. It's looking really pretty. And this is a really simple thing to do, but I've just got a little bit of water here in a container, and I'm just going to get some water on my fingers and I'm going to give it a flick. And all this does, I flicked it a couple of times, all this does is it flicks around on where that sponged area is, and it's going to pull the colour out. So it's going to give us, I'll show you on my original card, I'll bring it up closer. You might be able to see there's some little spots around here, it's particularly down in this area, and that is actually where the water is being taken out of the sponging. So I now have this beautiful card. We've got our little bit of spottiness occurring with the bit of water that we've splattered on there. Even if it goes over the top of some of your butterflies, don't worry about that. We've got enough color saturation in there that it's not going to play around with that too much, unless you splatter a lot of water. But if you keep it a small amount, it should be just fine. And then I've got this sentiment here, and I'm deciding whether I'm going to add it here or here. Down the bottom or at the top? I'm thinking down the bottom. I think that might be the place for it. And you could use navy again, or you could also use Misty Moonlight is another colour that works really well instead of Night of Navy if you don't have the navy. And I'm just going to ink that up. Just make sure I haven't got an overhang of colour. All right, and I'm just going to pop it down here. Excuse my head for a second. Just like that. And my card is done. I've just got to wait for a few of those little spots of water to dry, but it's looking really great. And this is the same effect that I went for on this one. I've actually added a bit more of the navy on this card, so it's a little bit darker than this one, but I like the effect on both. So there we go. Another pretty card, all done. I hope you enjoyed that today. Any questions or comments, or if you would like to go shopping, if you want to get your hands on any of these products, I'll put all the links in the description below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, because growing my channel is not only makes me happy, but it also means I can share more of what I love with the world. So have a great day, guys, and I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.